Saints Paintball TV is brought to you by At Saints Paintball, we carry Utah's widest selection of paintball equipment. We've got what you need to take your game to the next level. If you have gun problems, our master technicians are on hand to help you stay in the game. Saints Paintball, Utah's largest supplier of paintball equipment since 2009.
Welcome to another edition of Saints Paintball TV. In this episode, it's the battle of the Planet Eclipse intermediate guns. That being the newly released Etha marker versus the Etek 3. Now, I'm going to take you out to the field and do an efficiency test on both. Now, again, I want to talk about the test parameters just like I did with the Etha versus the Axe. Both guns were set on PSP ramping at 12.5 balls per second. Both were given a 48 cubic inch, 3,000 psi tank. And then after I take you out to the field, we're going to go ahead and we're going to compare the two, talk about their qualities, talk about the pros and cons of both, and then which one is really best for you. Alright, I'm set up. You'll notice that, if you can hear that, there is no paint inside this marker or in the hopper. I'm going to go ahead, take the first pod. Alright, I've gone ahead and I've emptied out the remaining paintballs out of the rotor. I put them in this pod right here. So let's go ahead and count them up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it looks about a quarter. So about 5 1/4 pods on a 3,000 psi tank on the Etha marker. Again, there's no paint in this hopper. We're good to go. Got the paint here. Let's go ahead and try her out. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've emptied out the remaining paintballs out of the hopper and I put them in this last pod. So as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a third pods of paint out of the Etek 3 marker. Let's go ahead and let's take you back into the studio and finish off our comparison between the Planet Eclipse Etha marker and the Planet Eclipse Etek 3. The Planet Eclipse Etha marker starts at $395, just under $400. Now, as it was released in December of 2011, and it is just barely February of 2012, there's only been a handful of Ethas out on the field, and so the quirks and oddities that you would expect out of a newly released gun have not really surfaced yet. And so I would expect over the course of this year, we'll find more quirks out of the Etha, and I'll report on those later. I did pull out the calculator and calculated how many shots you can expect for 68-45 tank, and expect to get 1,400 to 1,600 shots. Well, that's quite a few shots, and not too bad considering that it's under $400. A couple of things I liked about the Etha: it's smaller. Instead of having the double stacked tube that you would find in a standard poppet, you're only getting that one tube. And with the newly designed grips, it does feel smaller. And for me, someone who has smaller hands, it felt better in my hands, and so I liked it. It does have a smoother shot. Now that's something also to take into consideration, as depending on the position that you're going to be playing. And it was quieter. One of the things I didn't like about the Etha, though, is the board. It's hard to program. Now, Planet Eclipse claims it's the same board out of the Etek 3, but here's the problem. There's only one light. Well, the Etek 3 has those 3 lights that give you a better idea of what you're actually programming. And so the Etha was harder for me to get into it and actually start programming it and tweaking the modes. And so for a lot of beginner players who are just getting into the idea of programming their guns, well, you probably are going to find it more difficult to go with the Etha, just because that board is a little bit more difficult. It's got that one flashing light. The Etek 3 LT and the AM were released in late 2010. Now, because these are the 3rd generation Eteks, you are going to find multiple color versions of these guns. Now, the Etek 3 LT starts at $495 and the AM starts at $595. In this test, I tested the Etek 3 LT, which has a nylon composite grip frame, eye covers, as well as a clamping feed neck. You can expect to shoot 1,600 to 1,800 shots for a 68 cubic inch 4,500 PSI tank. Now, that is going to be more air efficient than the Etha. So obviously, one of the upsides of the Etek 3s is the efficiency. But because it's a poppet valve, it is going to be louder, and so that might be something to take into consideration. Now, the Etek 3 is much easier to program, and that's something that I actually liked. You've got 3 LED lights, the E, G, and O, versus just one light on the Etha. Now the question is, which gun do you choose? Well, that also depends on the role that you're playing in the game. If you're a front player or a front insert player in tournament, or if you're a scout or light infantry in scenario, well, at that point, you probably want to be going with the Etha. It's quieter, it's lighter, you're only going to be taking 3 to 4 pods out with you, maybe 5 at the most, and so you're going to be able to shoot through all that paint anyways. Versus as a back player or a heavy infantry gunner in scenario or speedball, you're playing more of that supporting role. At that point, then the Etek 3 is probably going to be your best option. You're going to get more shots, it is going to be louder, but you're not really hiding your position. And it's easier to program. I mean, obviously you're not going to be programming it on the field, but that is something to take into consideration from game to game. If you like what you saw, hit that button right there and subscribe to us. And if you have any questions or comments regarding this and other episodes of Saints Paintball TV, feel free to email us at info@saintspaintball.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow our tweets. Until next time, we'll see you out on the field.